good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us on a weekday. It's 7 p.m. Eastern, where I am in New York. And I know you're joining from all over the country. So thank you for taking the time today to meet our guest expert panel and learn more about cannabis and CBD for pain management. And in the interest and out of respect for everybody's very busy, precious time on a weeknight, I will get started and I will turn it over to our guest expert panel in just a moment. I'll briefly just introduce everybody that's going to be speaking today. So starting with myself, my name is Dr. Marina Buksov, and I am a holistic pharmacist. So I actually work clinically with people as regards to their health coaching and herbal. What I do is herbal remedies and mindset coaching with a lot of my clients. And pain is something that I don't directly deal with, but I could say a lot of people, both in the pharmacy setting and in my own practice, they definitely deal with, whether it's, something acute or something chronic or something like fibromyalgia, which is neurologic and something new and mysterious that has now become a popular diagnosis. So it's very, very important considering our opioid epidemic and, our lack of both understanding and management options, in my opinion, to really go deep in this topic and give people some options. And also, I'm very much for self-empowerment and responsibility when it comes to, managing one's own health and being that steward of one's own health. So I think the more you know, the more you can do something about it. So if we understand the dynamics and the mechanics and what kind of natural substances we can take or what we can do in our lifestyle or how we can change our movement. Like I really see health as a dynamic and holistic picture. So I'm all for exploring all the options we have, right? Whether it's pharmaceutical or pharmacological or has other types of modalities, anything from energy and healing modalities to physical therapy to really anything and everything in between. And I've been a patient in all these settings as well for my own health problems. So I'm always up for learning something new. And so today, without further ado, I'm going to be introducing Mr. Datron Branch, who's the CEO and partner for Diapedic. And he's going to be sharing how he came up with this amazing vertical line that he's built with a team from soil to shelf, of growing hemp and extracting medicinal qualities that are helpful for pain management. And then we're going to speak to two clinicians, Dr. Benoit Sheth and Dr. Remy Onifade. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She'll be coming on later on, and they'll be sharing actual clinical cases with us and how they've been able to use this specific brand of CBD topical products for their own patients in their practices. So Datron, would you like to take the mic?
I certainly will. First of all, thank you guys for having us today. I'm going to share my screen so that we can make sure that we have some good bandwidth here, and I will be going off camera here. And you guys should be seeing the Diapedic screen right now.
Yep, and you can keep yourself on camera too, because we could see both screens.
Okay, awesome. Well, I have my Zoom up all the way, so I'll tell you what, we'll just go ahead and get started like this. So first, I want to thank you, Marina, for your warm introduction and for hosting the workshop this evening. I'm also very grateful for those who have signed up to be a part of the virtual audience tonight. We're excited to share the benefits of using CBD topicals while also taking a dive into how these all-natural products manage pain and inflammation. We'll start with an overview about the origin of CBD and how it interacts with the bodies. Then I'll introduce our Diapedic suite and discuss its unique properties. Lastly, we'll wrap up with the workshop and an insightful conversation with two of our health and wellness partners. They'll be sharing how they use our products inside their practices and also their patient treatment plans. So we want to ensure that there's enough time for any Q&A session at the end of the workshop. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm sure you're very familiar with the common benefits that CBD is known for, like relieving pain, reducing inflammation, and even lowering anxiety. But how does CBD work? What's happening to cause the pain to go away? Well, no need to worry. We won't be doing any reverse 4.5 somersaults in the pike position, okay? We're just going to do a basic low dive into understanding CBD and how it interacts with the body's endocannabinoid system to help naturally influence the reduction of pain and inflammation. CBD, which is short for cannabidiol, is a compound that is found in the hemp plant. What you're looking at right now are our hemp plants in the cultivation fields where we have our projects. Hemp is a plant variety of the cannabis sativa plant. The plant is known for naturally producing considerable amounts of CBD, as well as minor cannabinoid amounts like CBG, CBN, and CBC, as well as very low amounts of THC. After these plants are harvested into biomass, that biomass goes through a processing method to extract the CBD that we use in our products. Now, we do have now that we have an idea of how CBD is produced, I really want to focus on how the CBD works from a topical application as it interacts with the body's endocannabinoid system. As you may know, the endocannabinoid system is comprised of cannabinoid receptors, endocannabinoids, and enzymes that are responsible for producing and breaking down endocannabinoids like anandamide. Now, when the body undergoes stress like pain or inflammation, the body naturally produces anandamide and usually breaks it down at the same rate. However, when CBD is applied topically, it penetrates through the skin and primarily interacts with the CB1 and CB2 receptors of the endocannabinoid system, but it doesn't directly bind to them. Instead, CBD influences the endocannabinoid system by slowing the enzymes that are responsible for breaking down anandamide. And by slowing down the breakdown of anandamide, its levels increase and it binds to the receptors, causing it to reduce the amount of pain signals or stress signals associated with pain and inflammation that are being transmitted through the receptors. So the overall result of CBD's interaction with the endocannabinoid system ultimately leads to the benefits of naturally managing pain and inflammation, which happens to be our topic for the next section. Now, while there are many benefits of using CBD topicals, I'll focus on 3 key benefits. The first of which is being the targeted effect. So CBD topicals offer localized relief when applied to specific areas of discomfort. And the precise application of CBD topicals can immediately start to soothe sore muscles, relieve joint pain, and also reduce inflammation. This is very ideal for acute and chronic conditions like arthritis and tendonitis. It also makes it very suitable for active lifestyles. The second key benefit is that CBD topicals provide an alternative to traditional pain relief. The topicals provide an excellent alternative to those traditional pain relief methods and some prescribed medications. In addition, they provide immediate relief without the side effects of prescribed medications or opioids. So they're a very safe alternative because they don't have any addictions and they're also non-psychoactive. And the last key benefit is the ability to include the application into your holistic wellness routine. So CBD topicals may complement other wellness practices, but by integrating topicals into a holistic pain management regimen, an individual can promote a natural plant-based approach, which is compatible with other areas of their lifestyle, such as their diet. And these are a few key benefits of using CBD topicals when considering an application method that's going to best suit your needs. Now that we've reviewed a few of the key benefits of using CBD topicals, I'd like to take some time to briefly introduce you to our product suite. So if you would, just give me a second to switch decks here. All right, moving right along. So at this point, I'm just going to kind of go through a few things that are unique about our products and some good information that you may want to know. Everyday people use our products for acute and chronic conditions, from auto mechanics to plumbers, to those that are in recreational sports like pickleball, even everyday things like gardening and playing golf. In addition, health and wellness professionals also provide our products to reduce inflammation and pain. And this is key because this is how we actually get our products out into the market. Another key aspect of what we do is that we're licensed processors and manufacturers. We're licensed by the USDA and the Arkansas Department of Agriculture. So what this means is that we have the ability to cultivate our plants and also process and manufacture them into products. Some of the main benefits that we really push with our products is that we use all natural ingredients. No additives or artificial preservatives are used in our products. It is hemp derived from industrial hemp, and it also contains a lot of beneficial cannabinoids, with CBD being the majority of the cannabinoid content. With all of our products, we do third-party independent testing on them, and we also put the QR codes on all the packages so that anyone who wants to look up any of the testing requirements can definitely do so. So we pride ourselves in being 100% compliant with industry standards. The two types of varieties that we have with our creams are broad spectrum, which is 0 THC. We also have full spectrum, which includes trace amounts of THC below the federal limits, which is about 1.8% testing in our products. Now that we've gone over some of those key unique factors about our products, let's talk about the product suite. We'll start with our full-size cream suite. We have our broad spectrum full-size creams that come in 1 ounce jars. And we also have two concentration types. We have our 500 milligram, which is regular strength. And we also have our 1,000 milligram, which is for extra strength. We also have the same strengths in our full spectrum, full-size creams. In addition to our full-size cream suite, we have our pod creams. And the reason why we developed our pod cream suite is for those that are always on the go or need to have their creams whenever they need it, right? So if you're at home and you have to go to work or you're traveling, you can always carry these 1/4 ounce pods along with you to use it at your convenience. Now, we also have individual servings, what we call our mini servings of our full size creams. And these are our pod creams. They come in 75 milligrams of CBD per pod, and we also have it in the full and broad spectrum. Now, all of the creams that we have in our suite are made with a very good neutral scent, which is lavender. However, our massage pods come in eucalyptus. Now, we'd love to have you partner with us. Some of the key things that we have with partnering with us is the Diapedic experience. So we have flexible packaging options for you. our products are very competitive for you to increase revenue and sales. Also, we have different options. So if you have a brick and mortar location, we have our retail vendor option. And for those that aren't selling out of their location and just want to refer their patients and customers to us, we also have our affiliate program. Now, we love to discuss each of these options with you. If you're in the market to become a partner with us, you can actually pull out your phone and use the QR code to have my contact information and reach out to me directly. You can also visit our social media by looking up the Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn accounts that we have. Outside of that, we will be reaching out to each one that is on this webinar right now, and we look forward to following up with you.
Thank you, Datron. So I'm also moderating the chat. So if there's anything specific that you would like to learn about Diapedic's product suite or CBD in general, please put it in the chat. Anything that you're hoping to learn tonight, we want to help you get the most out of this webinar.
Awesome. So now what we want to do is really have a dialogue with Dr. Chef, which is one of our partners. And he's going to talk about the Diapedic experience, some of the things that they're doing in their practice, and also some of the customer feedback that they've gotten. Dr. Chef, I'd like to turn it over to you right now and let you introduce yourself and your practice location.
Thank you so much, Datron, and thank you for having me, Marina. So, as mentioned, my name is Dr. Benoit Sheth. I am a podiatrist and a foot and ankle surgeon here in Dallas, Texas for us. I've been practicing for about 8 years now, and I was approached with Diapedic in particular, but in general, CBD cream just a few years ago in my practice. Now, what I had noticed with a lot of my patients when I had first seen or when I first heard of CBD creams was the original stigma of saying that, CBD hemp, is it illegal? How effective is this? And there were a lot of products that came out into the market. But what I found when I did a deeper dive into the benefits, the ingredient profile, and the way that the biochemistry of the product is that it actually has wonderful benefits for both pain and inflammation in my particular group of patients. And one thing that is unique about my practice and my specialty is, feet have 25% of your body's bones and has about 25% of your body's muscles and tendons, and is a very complex mechanism because they kind of all act as a domino effect. When one bone moves one way, another bone has to adjust to that bone's movement, as do muscles and tendons pulling stuff. So with that, a lot of aches and pains tend to occur with people's feet. And it is one of the rare portions of our body where if you can't work, if you can't walk on your feet, you really can't function too much in life. That's there. So when I see my patients, I see anywhere from a vast variety of diabetics who have really bad neuropathy and pain associated with that, to any traumatic injuries where it might be tendonitis versus plantar fasciitis, to even traumatic actual physical injuries like ankle sprains and such. And then unfortunately, if any of those injuries cause any worsening trauma, it could result in breakage of bones or tearing of tendons, and then with that, surgery being incorporated. So one thing that I have one thing that I have been doing in my practice quite a lot is incorporating natural mechanisms to decrease the amount of both oral anti-inflammatories as well as pain medications to be taken by our patients. And some of the more beneficial patients that I've seen has been patients who are just on a chronic pain scale. Diabetic neuropathy is something that's really bad. There's no cure for it that is currently here. And there are some modalities that can help with symptom management, but some of these medications may not be as effective, and your body builds a tolerance to it while retaining side effects. So one of the more common things that I've been doing for a lot of my diabetic patients who have neuropathy is I've been giving them the option and talking to them in detail about the benefits of CBD cream. A lot of times, most pain that diabetics get is nighttime, right before they're going to sleep, and it keeps them up at nighttime. They can't go to sleep. Their feet are on fire. And with that, it just becomes really, really miserable. However, I've noticed with treating with my patients that trying something like Diapedic has been very, very beneficial. It soothes the nerves, it soothes the pain level, and it allows patients to have a pretty comfortable night's sleep with very minimum application, depending on the strength and the dosage that we need as far as the CBD goes. Also, a lot of things that occur in feet sometimes don't have a natural cause behind it or an actual cause for it. For example, a lot of times people just have achy feet. You know, you have a worker or you have someone that's working 12 to 14 hours a day. They're working on concrete, which is really bad for your feet. They are not taking many breaks. By the time they come home, they're just having a lot of aches and pains. And there isn't really a cause behind it. It's just tired feet is what it is. And so instead of incorporating a oral anti-inflammatory regimen that they have to take for a lifetime or a very long chronic type of period, I've been incorporating Diapedic quite a lot with my patients, and they find very great relief because most of the time, these aches and pains will resolve after a good night's sleep and a proper amount of rest that's there. However, when that aches and pains can decrease, it's going to be hard to tell. Some patients may be able to benefit right away versus others may take up to the wee hours of the night. So applying this cream has been very beneficial for us. Surgery patients have been very unique for me. So one of the more common things that there's an issue in America is pain medication, the overuse of pain medication, and the need for it for stuff like surgery. Well, what I found in a lot of my surgical patients is most of the pain, breakthrough pain and really bad pain, occurs within the first 24 to 72 hours. After that, it's tolerable, but it may still not be enough for a patient to have a comfortable kind of recovery that's there. So what I have started incorporating with my patients is incorporating a topical mechanism in the form of CBD once the stitches and sutures come out, because what I have found is not only has it helped with my patients' pain management, it has done an incredible job of reducing inflammation, and with that, reducing swelling and having patients get to a better and faster recovery, or at least a pain-free recovery that's present for them. So in my variety of patients that I see, whether it's a conservative care versus a surgical care, I've been able to incorporate Diapedic quite frequently into my patients, and they've had pretty good results with it. One of the more common things that patients get whenever they have any kind of pain in their feet is the dreaded plantar fasciitis. Most people have heard of it. It is something that is just very common. There's not really necessarily a source for it. It's something that develops due to some kind of change in their activity, whether it's a different kind of shoe they're wearing. It could be a shoe that hasn't been broken in. It could be a shoe that's been worn down quite a lot. It could be the grounds we're walking on. It could be an increase of activity. Let's say someone goes to vacation, like let's say Disney World or something, where you're going through 15,000 steps a day. Basically, the premise of plantar fasciitis is some change causes an additional amount of work for your feet to be done, and the ligament on the bottom of your foot, which is called the plantar fascia, gets overextended or overexerted. So because of that, it stretches, it strains itself, it pulls, and then with that, all of a sudden, you get this inflammatory process. Well, the problem is you need your feet for every step you take. So once it's inflamed, the more you keep walking on it, the more it can continuously get aggravated. And it is beneficial for patients at that time to have stuff like orthotics and inserts and such to offload the ligament and help support it while strengthening it. But inflammation becomes a key on how much activity they can do, how much stretching they can do, and how much support the orthotics can give them, because if it's irritated, and it's hard to take a step. So what I have incorporated quite a lot here recently has been Diapedic and CBD cream for this, because there are some cases where we know that plantar fasciitis, yes, they'll get better, but it just may linger for a longer period of time than what we expect. And by providing a type of management where we can reduce inflammation down, give a great and adequate pain control while we're taking the time for this ligament to remodel itself, to restructure itself, and to re-benefit from the use of inserts and such so it can offload that ligament, it has become a very, very great asset in my practice in general. I've been using it for plantar fasciitis for so much now that I've actually limited how many plantar fascial surgeries I've done, because it allows us to get time for us to really naturally reheal the ligament the way that it should have been or it is, so that way we can avoid any kind of dissection or cutting of that nature that's there. One of the more popular examples that I won't forget is I happen to be in an area where I get to treat a lot of retired NBA basketball players. There's actually a retired NBA league that is right next to our area here. And, a lot of these players for years and years and years have put a lot of pounding and a lot of just impact on their feet. And I had a patient that I remember, very tall guy, 6'5", had a beating on their feet and just suffered from really bad both plantar fasciitis as well as Achilles tendonitis. Now, these kind of work together. They both kind of work with each other as far as the movement of your feet goes. And I'm not going to go through the mechanics of it, just to kind of spare the details, but basically they can be lingering and they can be quite chronic. So we have incorporated a mechanism to naturally try and re-strengthen, because his goal is to still continue playing in this league and doing well. And sometimes medications won't be beneficial because of the fact that they become more of a temporary cause. That we have incorporated a very vast physical therapy type of regimen, a very, very intense support type of regimen as far as shoes and inserts goes. But the benefit that we've had with Diapedic is it's helped elongate how much we've been able to do his treatment, that now he's starting to do well. And the beauty is he's able to continue playing. If he ever has a night where after he's played, he needs a little bit more recovery, he uses a little bit of the CBD cream that's there, and it works wonders for him. And usually it allows him to get back on his feet the next morning. So it's been really nice as far as day-to-day management, as well as any other kind of more specific causes that's there. One thing that is not really talked about much when it comes to feet is, osteoarthritis or arthritis in general is a very common thing all over the body. Most people, they get into their hips, they get in their knees, they can get in their back and such, but it is actually quite common in feet. And the reason why, again, is there's 26 bones in your feet. So with that, there's 33 joints actually there, and every single one of those joints can develop bone-on-bone rubbing, and it can cause it to have really, really kind of chronic, dull, achy pain, which is hard to kind of manage. The difference here compared to your knees and your hips and such is you are putting your full body weight down on your feet, and it is the stepping stone for your step. So with that, it is going to get the most impact, go through the most rotation, and the most range of motion. So when you have arthritis in your feet, with all the joints that's there, not every single joint is repairable. Like the knee, like the hip, if it ever gets to a point where it's really bad, you can get a knee replacement, you can get a hip replacement, or any kind of surgical measures. There's maybe one or two joints in your feet you can do it, but otherwise they're just way too small, way too tiny. So CBD has been incredible in helping with retaining some of the rubbing and the issues that come with it from the bones, because of the fact that it's been able to reduce inflammation while giving immediate relief. First-hand experience, I use this on my grandmother. My grandmother has really bad arthritis in her feet. It's mostly in her ankle, but it is a little bit on her midfoot. She's had it for years. We've tried many different modalities for it, and some of them have worked really well. But the benefit that we have seen for her being a much, much more happier patient, and more importantly, just less pain-free, has been something of these topical ointment regimens, and it's been really, really helpful. I used to, prior to using CBD as well as Diapedic in this sense, used to use topical anti-inflammatories all the time. I used to use something that was prescription grade, that's now more retail and on the shelf quite often, because it was one of the better topicals on the market. There was some stuff that were stronger, sometimes hard to get based on insurance, and patients wouldn't get it. But from something that was readily available, I would use that quite a lot. But I did my own kind of case studies with my own family members and my own patients as far as trying the two. And I've noticed that the amount that you have to put on for your CBD compared to what you needed to do for the topical NSAID was far less. So you use less product for the same amount of gain. And B, it was actually finding to have more longer relief. The topical NSAIDs that I found was having a more shorter duration of its effectiveness versus the CBD having a longer duration that's there. So it's been really great in helping both chronic patients as well as patients that have any kind of acute injuries or acute inflammatory conditions, and really just helping our patients just be a little bit more pain-free while we manage all the other aspects to get their actual condition or pathology healed.
Wow, that was really, really impressive. Thank you for sharing all that. And I too, when I looked at the ingredient list for Diapedic in particular, because I like to read all the labels with all the products that I recommend to people or use myself. And I very much like clean products, clean ingredients, nothing that you can't really mispronounce or something like super confusing. That's usually a sign of some synthetic chemicals or something that maybe you don't want to put on your skin, because another thing that we probably didn't hit on today is that the skin is actually quite absorbent, right? Especially oily substances is something that can penetrate the bilipid membrane of our skin. And so it's really important that you are using clean products, because if you wouldn't eat it to a certain extent, you should reconsider applying it to your skin, because it does penetrate pretty well, more than we probably think that it does. So I really love the use of your excipient ingredients in this particular company, and the essential oils that you use and other ingredients, and the shea butter and all of these wonderful things that moisturize the skin and heal the skin, as well as allow for deeper penetration to some of these deeper tissues. And so I learned so much about feet today. This was great. And I'm so happy to hear that all these case studies are finding benefit. And I too have a testimonial, because just from like an acute application for myself, it actually helped me too. When I had an wisdom tooth extraction, I just applied it to my teeth, because not my teeth, my cheek, because I also wanted to avoid the standard ibuprofen 800 milligrams, because as a pharmacist, I want to avoid things that can damage my gut. And so I think I only ended up taking like 1 or 2 doses of the ibuprofen, and I was able to manage.
Absolutely. To kind of piggyback on your point for the skin as well as the testimonial, skin has 7 layers, and a lot of times some of the topicals will only penetrate so far that's there. So having a product like Diapedic, which with the essential oils and the shea butter and everything you mentioned, and having a deeper penetration really gets into the deep levels of what we want to happen, so that way we can get a benefit. And as you had mentioned for your own testimonial, I have about 3 or 4 pods in my golf bag every single time I play, because after about the 9th or 10th hole, I get really kind of achy and pain. And I can't tell you how many times I've lost these pods because I've given them to friends or any other people that have been playing there. And I open up my bag again and I'm like, wow, I'm all out. I need to ask Datron for more samples, because at the end of the day, they've been really beneficial and really just something good for immediate relief, while again minimizing the amount of toxins that goes into your body.
Yeah, absolutely. And another question that I often get in my practice, and just from people that come to the pharmacy, is, how long do I have to use a specific product, right? So, I heard you say one of the benefits is because it actually deals with some of the root issues, you may not need to use it all the time. But is there any contradiction from using it all the time, or is there anything that we should look to as far as expectations from a clinical perspective?
Yeah, no, there's the beauty of this is they're all natural ingredients and there is no contraindication in not use it. As opposed to something like if someone was to get a steroid cream, for example, steroid creams after long-term use will cause atrophy of the skin. It can cause sensitivity issues for your nerves, because as the skin starts thinning out, then you can all of a sudden have some nerve sensation that gets affected that's there. And this isn't one of those type of products. It's natural. It's the essential oils, which our body already has oils that are there and it's absorbent with it. The shea butter and such has a very good factor that helps moisturize the skin as well. So in as far as contraindications goes, there's none. You can use this for as long as you like. One of the questions that I would get quite often in my patients is, can I use it too much in a certain day? And I think with anything in life, if a little bit of overuse can sometimes be a little detrimental, but I have found that, 4 applications a day has been perfectly fine with no harmful effects, because at the end of the day, your body also has a good job of shedding off top layers of your skin and regenerating such where it won't cause any of that accumulation factor that's there. So for the most part, you can use it pretty liberally as needed that's there. Whenever I talk to my patients, if they're in a chronic pain state, I try and get them on a regular schedule of using it. However, if their pain starts improving, we start decreasing the use of it, because again, if it's not necessary, we like the body to heal like it naturally does.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate that sentiment and explanation. Do you ever in your practice or maybe personally combine it with oral, either natural products or even CBD orally? Is that something that you recommend or no?
So yeah, yes. My practice, so there's some parts of my practice, especially when we involve stuff like surgery, where sometimes medication is necessary. It's just kind of the what has to happen. But in speaking of natural remedies, I'm also very big on vitamin supplementation. And there's actually some medically graded vitamins that are phenomenal for stuff to help, including stuff like osteoarthritis, peripheral neuropathy, bone and soft tissue healing that's there. And so what I tend to incorporate is like, let's say the most extreme, which is a surgical patient. Yeah, I'll depending on what kind of surgery's there, what kind of anesthesia's there, if they've had a nerve block or not, I will probably have to give a little bit of pain medication just for the initial get-go, because sometimes breakthrough pain is hard to go. But what I do is I quickly and aggressively try and reduce the pain medication, go into a more natural vitamin supplementation with the supplement of Diapedic CBD cream. And my premise is I get them started on the vitamins prior to surgery. And then the goal is that once their pain is very tolerable, then I get them automatically converted to the topical. And then if we need an oral, we can, as far as CBD goes. But a lot of times when the body is already naturally getting the supplementation that it needs, and we're piggybacking that with the topical supplementation of what the immediate benefits that the Diabetic CBD does, I found that I'm writing less and less scripts for pain medicine, and especially less and less refills, because your body's doing what it naturally wants to do, which is heal.
Yeah, appreciate that. I also like a lot of those supplements for, the peripheral neuropathy that you mentioned and all the other issues. I love to get it from food, but sometimes, it's
It's
easier,
hard.
more efficient to supplement. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some conditions that need a little bit of an abundance on a more immediate basis, I guess. And so the diet is absolutely the number one thing that should be the most important. But again, if we have a timeline that's necessary, then we need to get it from other aspects. And that's where stuff like CBD is beneficial. And Daytron has talked about like the products of being both broad spectrum and full spectrum, broad spectrum being no THC and full spectrum and having trace amounts. I use both. The trace amounts is well below the national restrictive level, and it's enough where if there was an athlete that needed to take it, they wouldn't have really much issues as far as anything goes when it comes to testing purpose. I still, though, just for a precautionary reason, keep it at broad spectrum where there's none. But my point is that there's such low levels that they're beneficial. There are some indications of why the full spectrum would be more beneficial than the broad spectrum, and I go patient to patient dependent, but it's been wonderful, and it's been something that's been really helpful.
yeah, absolutely. So I know we're waiting for our second clinician, Dr. Remy, to come on. And while we wait for her, because she, I think, is a little bit busy working with a patient right now. So hopefully she'll still be able to join us. But I will take some questions if anybody wants to come on and turn their cameras on, or just raise your hand, or just put your questions in the chat. And I do see one question already. So regarding the ingredients of the creams, are they available online? So, Datron, I don't know if you want to share your screen or share what the ingredients actually are.
Sure. So we do have them online, and they are on all the boxes. You can go to any one of the products at diapedic.com, diapedic.com. Just to share the ingredients off the top of my head with you, we have our butters, which is shea butter, mango, and cocoa butter. Each of those butters has a specific reason why they're in there. And then we also have our essential oils as well. We have lavender, we use a little mint, and also a little camphor. The difference between ours and others is some people use menthol to give that cooling sensation. However, we found that camphor actually works better with the CBD molecules and kind of makes it a little bit more efficacious. The other ingredients that we use in our formulation are basically jojoba oil, avocado oil. We also use vitamin E in there as well. So vitamin E is really good for the skin. It kind of doubles down with the shea butter as well. So it makes it a smooth application. The key benefit of what makes our creams work really is the fact that it penetrates deep into the skin so that it can reach those CB1 and CB2 receptors. Some products out there, regardless of the CBD amount that's in there, if it doesn't penetrate the skin to get to where it needs to go, then the uptake is not there. So that's one of the key benefits to our products. And I hope I answered your question.
Yes, and I actually typed in the chat. I pulled up one of your products and I typed it in. So it's the broad spectrum, for example, CBD, camphor, terpenes, lavender oil, argan oil, peppermint oil, avocado oil, jojoba oil, vitamin E, cocoa butter, mango butter, and shea butter. So as regards to the terpenes, we're finding out more and more literature and by experience that they are also very, very important as far as the efficacy, of the whole mixture, right, of the plants. So the terpenes are like the glands that produce specific oils that are also very effective as far as mechanism of action for pain and inflammation, lots of other benefits. So which particular terpenes are you using, or is it also more like a broad spectrum?
So we use a specific strain. We use cherry blossom, and berry blossom. We don't work from isolates. We work from distillates. That's another one of the things that we do with our creams. So we don't mix oils with powders, which is more of an isolate. We use distillates so that everything is still in a consistent liquid form before we whip it up into a cream with the butters. As far as the terpenes, with those particular strands, it has high pinene in it. Pinene is like a terpene that gives that smell of pine sol, for instance, or that pine smell, right? And just FYI for anyone that's like, what are terpenes? Terpenes are the actual things that give fruits their taste and flowers their smell. So, and they definitely have some huge benefits as far as the way they affect the body in different ways.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hmm.
Any other questions from the audience? And feel free again to unmute or share experiences. Maybe somebody has tried other CBD products and something that they like or don't like or have questions on. This is your time.
So I'll chime in real quickly while others are waiting. The reason why I heard everybody saying that, hey, I used the product. Well, guess what? I am the #1 user of the product. What really got me into CBD was I have an autoimmune disease called hidradenitis, and it's just causes all type of inflammatory issues for me. So when I actually found that CBD topicals were working for me, I started with the sublinguals, and then I found a topical cream that was actually reducing some of the inflammation. And it happened right around the time when we first got into this industry back in 2019. So that really motivated me to make my own cream and something that would work well for my skin and hopefully with other skin as well. And once we get our formulation down pat, and we worked on it really hard to make sure that we got the penetration that we needed in order for it to work. I've been using it ever since. And I also like to say that one thing that we learn from our customers is how they're using the creams. I've never heard anybody say that they put it on their jaw for a toothache, but guess what? It makes sense in regards to the inflammation. So we're constantly learning from our customers and from our partners like Dr. Chef.
All right, beautiful. So I am still not seeing Dr. Remy. So I don't know if you would like to wait and take a little break, or we should take some more questions. Okay, I see one more. Have you tried introducing this for workers' comp cases, and have they been allowed from the insurance? That's a great question.
That's a very good question. We have not done that. There are a lot of different things right now as far as regulation and compliance. Of course, hemp is not on the Schedule I list. However, there's still a threshold as far as people really buying into CBD, based on a lot of the stereotypes that are out there. Hopefully, we can get that put on a lot of put on the workman comp list. It'll be better for insurance. I would like for Dr. Chef to kind of talk about that because I think he knows a little bit more about medical billing than I do. Do you have any input on that, Dr. Chef?
Oh,
Think you're
Dr.
muted.
Shed, we can't hear you. It doesn't look like you're on mute. Maybe your mic is off. Sure. I'll say the only workers' comp cases that I have seen, it was dealing with prescription medications. So whether topical or oral pain medications that were dispensed from an RX department of a pharmacy. So I'm not sure if there's over-the-counter expenses that can be counted. I'm sure there's a way to add that, you know, in a legal way to your lawyer fees and, you know, the lawyers that compile these cases. I think there's a way that you can add over-the-counter things, but that's just not something that I have personal experience with. I know we can't hear you. Maybe type in the chat and I will read your answer, Dr. Benoit. But yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, it's really just probably dealing through a legal department that gets data from the doctor's office and the pharmacy of, you know, what was billed, what was dispensed, and then later they're compensating whatever services were rendered. As far as like OTCs, maybe if you had the receipts and all of that stuff, then you probably will have the opportunity to get that reimbursed after the fact. But that also brings me to another great point about the Diapedic brand is they're actually very affordable and they have very competitive pricing. So I think from what I've seen, it's like 50% less than the average CBD brand. So that's something that was very intentional. So Datron, I don't know if you want to talk on that. You're on mute now.
Yes, one of the main things that we want to do was make sure that this was affordable for everyone, regardless of your income level. We just really believe that nobody should live in pain, right? So that's one of the reasons why we set our pricing at that point. Actually, we really had to explain to a lot of people, like, why is your product, 40-50% cheaper than what's on the shelves? And then, I had to pretty much explain that we aren't white labelers. We do everything from soil to shelf. So we actually have that margin to reduce. But a lot of times when we were actually pitching our product, even to some of our business partners, they were saying, wow, this is, can I really sell it at this price? And I'm getting it at a wholesale rate from you at this price? And I'm like, yes. We already have those margins built in. Another key aspect of it is, we're directly in the field. We don't have a lot of advertising burn, which obviously goes into the margins of the cost of the products. So we pride ourselves on making sure that everything is affordable for any and everybody.
Yeah, I love that. And there's a couple more comments in the chat. So regarding the OTC reimbursement, several years back, it seems like it was not acceptable by insurance companies. So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe now, because CBD is now more widely used and accepted in medical settings as well, and it is over the counter, maybe something will have changed. I'm just not sure. I see Dr. Remy did come on, so maybe she has some experience. And then the other question real quick, before we give her the floor is, have you considered partnering with functional medicine doctors and naturopaths?
Actually, we have, and if you are one of those functional doctors, I'd like to get your information and follow back up with you.
Yeah, awesome. And also pharmacies are another obvious choice, which is why we wanted to invite my network here. Is if you're a pharmacy owner or if you're a purchaser at your pharmacy, Diapedic could be the missing ingredient that can help a lot of people in your community. So with that, Dr. Remy, I see you're on, and welcome to our webinar tonight.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so sorry. I think I don't know, got lost in some sauce. But yes, I am Dr. Remy Onafati. I'm a physical therapist and been working with Diapedic. I don't know, maybe like 8 months, I feel, maybe. I don't know. But I've had great experiences in regards to using it during soft tissue mobilization, my fascial release mobilizations. I've actually used it with cupping as well, if anybody's familiar with cupping. And really just had consistently great reviews in regards to other CBD creams I have used in the past in comparison to Diapedic. And I've also just had consistent buys with people that have had surgeries, from lumbar fusions to cervical fusions, some total knees, total hips, and just people that have arthritis as well. I've seen a lot of my geriatric populations just saying, hey, this is great, where do I get it? Or if you have it in stock, can I just consistently come by even after I'm not a patient? So I've had great reviews overall in regards to the usage. And then being kind of dynamic in how I use it with, again, with the cupping, with post dry needling as well. That's helped decrease some of the soreness that they usually have felt. And seeing where it goes from there. But I've overall, it's been a great product to have within the clinic, and it has had some sales as well. Well,
Beautiful. So I don't know if Dr. Remy, you and or Dr. Sheth can speak to logistically, like what it looks like to partner with Diapedic. So is it that you buy their products wholesale? Is it more like an affiliate partnership? Is it that you're actually using these with your patients in the office?
I'm more of a both. I'm an affiliate partner as well, and then also using it within the office. And trying to honestly to gain traction with other physical therapy owners that are within my organization to pick it up as well, because I think it's just a great product, honestly. Like I said, I've used CBD creams before. This is actually at a great price, for one, for patients themselves, because I've had some CBD creams that they're selling at 120, and that's sometimes not the greatest, and especially in the regards to the actual usage and the efficacy of it, right? And then there's pieces that I like about being in affiliation agreement with Detrana and Carmen. It's just, they're just great people to have on board. You know, I'll say, you know, comment of maybe we should try this. And they're up for it, you know, in regards to even shipping the products to us, trying different things to just make sure it gets to me as quick as possible. And then making sure, like, I had a month where I didn't sell as much as I wanted to, and still backing off that subscription that I do have. So I appreciate working with them greatly.
Yeah, and then myself, yes, I'm in a partnership with them as well. I have some in the office, but I also the good thing about Datron and Carmen is that they also honor discounting, I guess. So they gave me a discount code so that way if my patients want to just go get it for themselves, give it to a family member, someone that I'm not even seeing, then they're able to just go on the website, put in my last name as a discount code, and then they get it. So that way they're truly about helping with pain control versus the actual price. And as was just mentioned, other competitors are pretty pricey at times, and whether or not the product is the same or not. That's, it's there. Obviously, there's differences here versus what they have, menthol being the main thing, but it is something that's very affordable, that even with the discount price or without it, it becomes something that's beneficial. So well, I am in a partnership with Daytron and Carmen, but at the same time, I have some in my office, but more importantly, I also have tear off sheets that I just give and say, hey, it's retail, they're local to where we are. And so, you'll get a free delivery in 1 or 2 days shipping, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think that's just very helpful for people to decide whether they want to give this a try, what's the best way to, get some samples or go about it. And Datron, I know you mentioned everybody on this webinar who registered is going to get an opportunity to follow up with you and learn how to do all of that and set that up. And for anybody here that would like to purchase, directly from retail and just for personal use, you can use my discount code, which is Holistic Pharmacy Podcast. I have a podcast coming up with Datron too, so you can catch it again. And again, if you use that code on the website, you'll get 15% off. And otherwise, if you are looking for a more practitioner partnership with Diapedic, Datron and Carmen will follow up with you and help you decide which one is right for you. And we have one question around that, Datron, in the chat. So do you have wholesale pricing to physicians?
Yes, we do wholesale pricing to our physicians. So the way we do that is we have bundle packages. We have 10-unit packages. We have 20-unit packages. Like I said, we have flexible options for any and everybody, regardless of if you have a small practice or a large practice. And even if you don't have the capacity to sell it out of your practice location, we can basically ship it out as well. We have several different options for you, from our recommendation pads to our codes, and we can track it in several different ways for you.
All right, beautiful. Well, anybody else have any questions or comments before we close out? Right. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for coming on and learning about Diapedic, about CBD, about how this can help yourself or your practice, your patients, your loved ones. Again, pain is such a complex topic. And even if you don't specialize in pain with your clientele and patient population, I shared that that's not the exact focus of my practice, it's still very relevant. Like, I work with women that have, let's say, endometriosis. So they're in pain too, even though it's not exactly what they usually come to me for. It's definitely very relevant to them and something that they need support around. So no matter what the diagnosis is, there could be some alternative pain treatments or therapies to consider holistically, and this could be one of them. So, Datron,
Thank you, Tom.
closing remarks?
Yeah, I just want to thank you again for hosting this. We've developed a very good relationship over a short period of a few months, and I look forward to our continued relationship and building that up even more. And also thank everyone again for participating in this workshop. Really appreciate it, and we'll do more of these in the near future.
Likewise. So yeah, everybody look forward to Datron's follow up after this. And for more information, you can ask him directly from here on out. If you want to use that code, again, it's Holistic Pharmacy Podcast for any purchase you make on the website directly. And something that we also spoke about in the podcast that's going to be released soon is the oral CBD from Branch Farms, which Datron also has developed, which was, how this Diapedic brand originated in the first place. So if you're interested for oral and topical formulations, you can ask Datron how to get started.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good evening. Good night.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.